Hey everyone, Lisa here, and welcome to this week's Crypto Weekly Update. Now, what a crazy week in crypto it's been. So we've lost 80 to 90% on most alts, and BTC is down 50% from its all-time high. So where are we going to from here? What are we doing? And let's have a look. Let's get started. Hey everyone, now let's jump straight into it. Now this is the BTC chart. So this is a low time frame 15-minute chart, and we've got a key region coming up, which is 38,200. And now this is key because this could be an inverse head and shoulders. We are currently at this resistance. So we've passed the first resistance. So our first resistance has been drawn like this. So if I zoom in on this chart, we can see that we've got this minor resistance in this region. We've come and we've tested that. So we're at this upper resistance. So if we go back on this chart, we zoom down on this chart, we can see that this resistance goes from this B wave here that I think is a B wave. Now I'm going to show you why I think this pattern is possibly complete. So, so we've got this C wave here, we're coming down, and I would love to see, we don't always get the inverse head and shoulders, but I'd love to see this breakout. I'd love to see a retest and then continuation up. So we could even just go up from here. So that's not outside of the realm of possibility. Or if we can't break through this region, we go down from here. So this is a key sort of position. But for this inverse head and shoulders, we need to get to this 38,200. So if we go to a higher time frame, I'm going to bring it up to a 4-hour chart and show you why I believe this region could be complete. So we've got this this pattern, this corrective pattern here that I've labeled as an ABC. So if I put a Fibonacci on this level, I'm going to get the trend-based fib. So if I put this from the high here to the low of this wave, I pull it up to the start of this wave here, we can see that we've taken down to this 1 to 1618. So, so we've got a 1 to 1 here, then we've got our B wave, and now C wave is 1 to 618. So this is technically complete in Elliott wave. So if we can hold this region, this wave is technically complete, and we continue to head up. So we've seen wick-off theory, obviously, over the last little while. We've also seen those patterns like complete. We've seen that Wyckoff have said that they have bought, and that pattern is now complete. So if we have a look at my long-term chart, so this is the super cycle chart that I've got on TradingView. I'll put a link below here so you can have a look. So basically what is happening in this chart, so at this point we've hit a resistance. We did correct down a little bit, and but we're still in this third wave, and this third wave was not complete. So obviously we've got our major one wave here. We've come down for our 2. Now we're in this third wave. So we've got this one wave here, and we're in the internal third wave of this super cycle. So if we press the button here, we can see that our third wave has gone to our extended target. We've come down to the technical pivot, and we've pierced that, and that's okay, but we're now above that. So this monthly needs to close above this technical pivot to be a valid pattern. So if we can close above that region, which we're currently doing, so it's 32,500-ish, we want to close above there, and then a continuation up to complete this third wave. So this third wave can, you know, truncate at this point here, which is around the 66,000 mark, or we can continue up. So for a double wave extension, which is around the 85 to 90,000 mark, on BTC. So it's highly likely that we might see a reversal at the 88,888, because that's just a really special number when you're looking at money. So especially for a lot of Asian cultures. So yeah, we're looking at that double extension and a reversal in this sort of region. Now, if we don't reverse, the next sort of point down that we're going to see is the a retest of the previous all-time high. So if we can't get a reversal in this region, and I'm going to be watching this very, very closely, we are going to come down and retest this all-time high. Now, we do have $1 billion printed in the market. So I've seen little bits of that sort of moving around, but a lot of that is still in the market and waiting to be bought up. So watching this technical pivot, watching the monthly close, and we've also got a full moon in 2 days' time. So just be careful with that. If you are in shorts, the shorts are really building at this point. You could be shorting the bottom. So I would not recommend shorting here unless you're doing resistance scalps, and because I do believe we are going up. So if we quickly jump to Ethereum, we can see that we've come down, we've retested this pivot. Every time we hit these lower ranges on the RSI here, we do have quite large moves. So again, Ethereum has hit the pivot, it's come down, it's retested the support on the RSI, and we should continue up. Now, we did break above, and every time we do break above this RSI, we do come crashing down. So that has happened as well. So the MACD is really, really, really looking oversold. So we need to get some sort of movement going upwards on this, because both the RSI and the MACD are looking like they need to have a bounce on Ethereum. So if we look to the ETH BTC pair, we are seeing that we've got, I had a wave 4 target in this region, and we've nailed that. So we should continue up here. There is a possibility we can come down a little bit more, but I think we're going to continue up. We've got diagonal support in this region, and Ethereum should start to gain that strength again against BTC, especially with what's happening with the triple halvening coming up. So if you're not aware of what the triple halvening is for Ethereum, make sure you do a Google, because there's 3 big events happening for Ethereum over the next sort of 6 months to a year, which means that we're going to get some really good movements coming up on Ethereum. So if you're looking at the price chart at the moment, so we're seeing that we're on the 200 MA. We're currently seeing a bounce, and we should continue up. So we could get a little bit of sideways in this region, but I really do think that we are going to start seeing some strong consolidation on a lot of these patterns and start to head up. So I'll have a look through with the alts as well, because the alts are showing that we need to bounce here. So, and I'll explain that as we get on to that. But with Ethereum, I think, you know, this is an absolute steal in this price range. So if we just zoom in onto this chart, we can see that we are bouncing just above the 200 MA here. And, you know, we've had a nice strong bounce. We're currently hitting that resistance on the 100 MA. Our MACD is starting to curl. So this is a really, really nice sign that Ethereum is just about to turn and to, you know, change direction, like over the long term. So we do have, like on BTC, we do have some diagonal resistance in this region. So Ethereum has a little bit to go before we can break out on that. But, you know, Ethereum at $1,700 was an absolute steal. So even at this price, it's an absolute steal, because with everything that is going on with it at the moment, you really want to get into this, because this is going to run like crazy. So that's my opinion. I'm in, I've stocked up, I've been buying all the dips here, and yeah, so This is a daily chart. RSI is starting to flatten out, starting to look really good. We don't often break down below this support region on the RSI. We're going to have a look at sushi later. Obviously, we're crossing some resistance points on that. So yeah, so let's so as soon as we can break out in this region on BTC, that is the ideal scenario. We're starting to push that region at the moment. This is a 4-hour chart, and we really want to see this move across over this resistance and then continuation up. So yeah, so let's get onto it, because my alerts are going off on my alts. And so let's hit the 15 charts in 15 minutes. Hey everyone, now let's get straight into the 15 charts in 15 minutes, because we've only got 15 minutes, so let's go. Okay, now this is hard. Hard is about to get harder. So we've had a massively huge correction on hard, and we've come down, and we should be at the bottom, at the very bottom. So we can see that we've broken down just below this long-term support region, which it's a new coin. Now if we put a horizontal one on there, we are home and hosed, and we have not broken down below that lowest point on this chart. So we're still looking good. So I'm going to put my star around this region. So I think a buy, anything down to 35 cents is a bargain on hard. So RSI is super low. This is a 12-hour chart, so it's a high time frame chart. So we're going to get a bounce here. Now, once we start getting some confidence back into the market, this is going to absolutely take off. So long term, I have some really big prices on this. So, you know, potentially we can move over 1,000% on hard at the moment, because we've dropped so much. Now these let's go shopping, these are bargain buys. You know, all of these charts are epically huge and going to be doing some massive amounts of profits. So yeah, we want to keep going on some of these charts, and let's get hard. So number 2, we have BCH, which has had a massive decline, which is not unusual for BCH. So if we look at price memory on some of these charts, so, you know, we've had a decline. We don't want to go long there. So if we get a short position and we have a look at the percentages that these charts drop, so for the pattern memory, so we've got a 43% drop in that range. So this is probably an epically large drop, but not that, you know, huge. We've had a 70% drop in this region on BCH. But if we have a look at we go back through pattern memory. So I put a video up here last night about pattern memory, and I used Matic as an example. So I'm just going to show you sort of what BCH usually sort of does. So it does a 40%, a 40%, a 40%, and then a massive 70%. So not unlikely for BCH to have these massive big drops. So if we have a look at this range and we pull it back, we've got a 70% drop. So massive drops and then smaller drops, massive drop. So that's the pattern that BCH sort of follows. So a 70% drop, 30% drop, 40% drop, 40% drop, before we had a 40% drop, and then this massive 70% drop again. So that means that we're going to continue up. We're into this new cycle. So that's what happens with these charts. So we want to be looking at these entries. So we've also got a diagonal support running through. We've got so many supports in this region. So we've got a diagonal support here, a diagonal support here, diagonal almost horizontal support here. So BCH should start moving. Our chart number 3, this is centric. So we have almost finished this correction. We're trying to break out of this falling wedge at the moment. So once this breaks out, we've got so much room to move on this chart. So this chart's looking super, super, super bullish. So yeah, so we need to add another line on this around this region. So let me just have a look at the Fibonacci on this. We're going to put some fibs on here and see where we're going. So yeah, there's our first target. So as soon as we can break out of this range, we've got some big targets on this. So this is looking super strong to continue up from here. And we've got 1,000% move. So we should see some of these big moves coming back into the market over the next probably 2 to 3 months to start moving. It's going to take a little bit of time to gain some confidence back in the market at this point. But once we get that confidence back, we're going to continue going. So again, the RSI is super low on this chart. Our chart number 4 is lunar. Now we're coming up to a full moon. So this is already taken off on this chart. We've had a strong bounce off this support zone. So this is a diagonal support in this region. So we've got 1, 2, 3 touches. So depending on where we can break out of this pattern, now we do have a full moon. So lunar likes to move with the full moon. So it should continue up. I do see a pullback though before we do continue up. So BTC is at a resistance. Remember that. So BTC will pull back. So if BTC pulls back, all the alts are going to pull back. So just be aware when you're entering these patterns. Chart number 5. So this is APN. So these guys are competing for the KSM Kasama parachain auction. So you want to get in on this. If they win the auction, they are going to be huge. So I am buying this at this region. Now I've been DCAing this all the way down because this one is going to be huge. Apron is going to be huge. So anywhere down to around the 5.5 cent mark is going to be massive on this. So number 6, we have Rio. So this one has had a really strong bounce today. So we break down to this lower support and we're right up and we've had a 60% bounce. I would expect that we retest this support region, which is about the 135 mark before we take off again. So chart number 7, we have Turtle. Now Turtle have announced that they're doing a massive big burn. So if you don't believe me, have a look at Twitter. It's in my Twitter. We're about to start stroking some turtles. We are really low on these RSI and MACD. And we are starting to get some curl. You know how I love alt curl, guys. So this is going to go huge, massively huge, especially when they do the burn. So they're burning so many turtles, not real life ones, coins. So yeah, get on Turtle while you can. BPro. Now I've been having this chart on, obviously with this breakdown with BTC. A lot of these charts failed patterns, but they, you know, they attempted breakouts. They've come back down. They've held supports. BPro has done the same. So this is an amazing project. So I don't know why it's so cheap. All of these coins are so cheap. So, you know, get in while they're so cheap. So this has gone to 0049 at the moment. So anywhere sort of down to 003 is a really good buy on this, and it should continue up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chart number 9 is Dent. I think it's number 9. I've lost count again. I always lose count. But anyway, so chart number 9 is Dent. So we have hit a resistance on this chart at this point. So if we take this down here, we have a lot of room to move. We have a short-term resistance in this region that we're hitting, same as what we're seeing on BTC. So we should see a breakout at this point and then a continuation in this sort of free air that we've got here before we can continue up. So we've got a little bit of consolidation to do on Dent, and then we should start moving strongly. We see that in the previous patterns, Dent does like to consolidate. So don't stress too much if it's not doing too much over the next week or so, and then it will start to take off again. So 1 inch, I think this is chart number 10. So it could be. Now we've had a strong bounce to we've got a diagonal support here. 1 inch doesn't really have any sort of support regions, as we can sort of see. We're coming up to a resistance if we put a line over this, so we might get some sideways movement in this region, and before we retest this 100 MA. So this 100 MA is at $4.70, and currently we're sitting around the $2.65. So we've got like some nice moves coming up in 1 inch. So, you know, that's a 90% move. We might get a small drop, so therefore we're getting 100% move on 1 inch. So anywhere sort of in this consolidation region, and a little bit of patience is going to give you 100% on 1 inch. So just set your buy orders, step away from the computer and go and live your life, and then you can sell 100% richer. So, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 11 is sushi. So sushi's had a strong bounce. So we've got 3 touches to this support and a really nice bounce in this region. Now, when sushi starts moving, obviously this is a DeFi, it's a DEX and sushi swap. So it really starts moving. So we have a whole heap of IDOs coming on sushi in the coming weeks and months. So you're going to need sushi to buy into those IDOs. So now is the time to buy that and get onto the exchange and start trading. So we've come down, we've got RSI support, we've got MACD that is starting to kick up. I expect we're going to have a small pullback here and then a continuation. So I don't, you know, when sushi corrects, it overcorrects. When it starts moving, it moves really fast. So it's a high volatile coin or token that you want to, you know, get in, and sort of it's going to make some nice moves. So we're currently at $10. We can get up to these $20, $22, $26 even on sushi. So we've got over 100% move coming up. Next chart is BAT. Now we've broken down from this head and shoulders. We had a very clear head and shoulders on this pattern and had a strong breakdown, but we're also on a support region. We're on a diagonal support. It's had a nice catch. Our RSI has hit the bottom of our support line on here, and we are going to start heading up. A lot of these coins and tokens are going to see some sideways movement. So don't be too stressed if we just go sideways for a little bit. We need to sort of build that confidence within the market coming back in after these big drops. So that's kind of what we need to do at this point. So number 13, we've got Lena. So Lena has been in this channel. We've seen it sort of dropping over the last little bit. If we zoom in on Lena, it looks really nice. It looks like we're moving like quite good. We've had the V bounce. We've had the retest of that trend line, and we're coming out of that now. So, you know, if we put some lines on here, we can see that we've got like a V-shaped bounce. So we've got 2 points here. We've come back down, we've retested, and, you know, it's looking really strong. So we're on the base of this channel here. So we do have some nice moves coming up. So if we're buying in at this range, we have a 285% move to get back to the top of that channel. So not outside the realm of possibility of this going higher. So if BTC, I'd just like to reiterate, if BTC can't break out, these charts will more than likely fail. So you need to have a stop loss, you need to use money management, and you need to know what you're doing. So, you know, number 13 is Doggy, so Elon's favorite. So we've had, we've retested the diagonal support. We have a cross support in this region, which we've had a strong bounce. You guys know how I love cross supports. Now, I haven't been trading many of these cross supports at the moment because the market has been highly volatile, and, you know, I've been sort of sitting out and waiting for a direction with BTC. Today, we're starting to get direction with BTC, and we're starting to get some money come into the market. Now, if BTC does fail again, these patterns will fail. So make sure you have a stop loss. So we want to come up and we want to retest this resistance. We want to try and get, this is a 4-hour chart, so we do want to try and get to these MAs in this range. So if we drop this back to the hourly chart, we can see that we are currently at the 100 MA. So we want to move up through those time frames and start getting some strength back into some of these coins, which is what we're seeing. So I think that was number maybe 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Dodge was number 14. Number 15 is Monero XMR. So we've dropped down. We had a bounce to the cross support. Now I did have this in my group, and we've, BTC dropped again and we corrected, but this is going to be huge over the next coming, sort of 6 to 12 months because of like the, privacy coins and what is happening in the market, and people wanting to stay anonymous. So we're starting to see this curl. We're starting to see the RSI curl up as well. So we did have a big bottom on this, and we're sort of bouncing in this region. We could possibly get a small drop down to around the 205 to 210 mark before continuing up. Now this has a lovely pattern. So we've got a major cup happening here. We've probably overcorrected a little bit on the handle, but we've still held support. We did see on Oxt earlier in the year this same pattern, and it continued up. So from these lows. So that's what we're seeing on XMR, which is Monero. So, we've got some strong moves coming up in this region and some nice targets, 100% moves, not outside the realm of possibility, and then beyond when we can break the top of this cup pattern. So that takes us now to the chart of the week. So hey guys, welcome back. Now our chart of the week is seller. So we've had, oh, it's already bounced. I was going to say we've hit this support region on seller, and we've had 4 technical bounces on this. Normally on a 4th bounce, we have quite a strong bounce, and we've seen that on this chart right now. So we've had a 60% bounce on here. We should see a pullback with BTC and a continuation up. So this chart, if we are trying to find some support and resistance regions, if we draw this, we've got, obviously we've got all this stuff up here, but we do have a diagonal resistance. This is only a small resistance in this region, so we should see a breakout. We should see some sideways movement here for the next few hours before we break out. We could see a possible pullback to around the sort of the maybe $3.20 mark, $3.20, 3 cents mark, 3.1 cent mark. So technical, but yeah, so we should see a pullback to about the 3.1 cent mark before we continue up. Our MACD is already starting to pinch up, and we've had a strong bounce off our support region on our RSI. So this chart is looking really nice for some really big targets. So if we're putting from this point, if you were to just enter here without waiting for the pullback, we've got potentially a 260% rise on this. Now this is obviously, I'm going to put a caveat on all these charts today that if BTC breaks down from this current position that it's in now and we continue back down to 19,500, all of these charts will fail. You must have a stop loss. You must have money management in place, and if you don't want to lose money. So yeah, so currently as they stand, the Elliott wave patterns are looking really strong, but if BTC does fail, these charts will fail as well. I just cannot say that enough. So all of my people in my group getting started in crypto know how much I drill that into their minds and their heads, and you know where to put the stop losses, how to move them up. There's a video here as well, guys, if you are wanting to, you know, learn how to put the stop loss on these charts. So you must have a stop loss if you want to make money. If you're hodling, fair enough. If you're a trader, use a stop loss. If you're in margin and leverage trading, you must use a stop loss. So I'm just going to keep saying that: stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. So yeah, so that's all I've got to say, guys. And let's hope that this week in crypto is not as scary and horrible as the previous week in crypto, but that's where all the gains are. That's why we're here. We're here for the volatility. So have an awesome week. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to hit and smash the like button, and I'll catch you when something happens in Bitcoin. I'll put some videos up this week on Twitter, and thanks for watching. See ya.